Andy Brassell. Now, we're going to be looking back at some of the European action from the weekend, but also I want to look forward to the Champions League draw that's going to happen on Friday, so we'll come to that in a minute. But the two games I really focused on this weekend were two games that promised a lot before the start, between Liverpool and Arsenal in the English Premier League, and between Lyon and Bordeaux in France. And in the end, I was really disappointed, especially with the technical quality in both of these games. Now, Liverpool and Arsenal have provided some great moments down the years and some terrific football, but this wasn't really one of those occasions. Some excitement to be had. Liverpool in front at half time. They should have been further in front, but failing to make the most of their advantage, not for the first time this season. Arsenal coming back, and really one great bit of quality in the game. The goal by Russian Andrei Arshavin sealing the game for them, but Liverpool could have been out of sight at half time, as I said, and that's got to be a worry for Arsenal. According to Thess Fabregas, they took the biggest telling off they'd taken in quite a long while from Arsene Wenger at half time, and you can certainly tell why. But the opening goal for both Liverpool and the equaliser for Arsenal, the own goal by Glenn Johnson, showing the lack of confidence really in both camps at the moment. And once Arsenal were in front, Liverpool struggled, even with Gerrard and Torres, to create any moments of great quality that could have got them back in the match. Now, with both Chelsea drawing and Manchester United losing, Arsenal made up some ground, so they're nominally back in the title race. But I feel what this game showed more than anything is that there is quite a gap between Chelsea and Manchester United and the rest of the league, especially those two, so maybe their thoughts about the title will have to wait for another season at least. Now, going across to France, Bordeaux certainly in the box seat now. Marouane Chamac's late goal at the Stade de Gerland in the game that I was at, sealing what was really poor contest. You expect more from the best two teams in France, who really revitalised the competition over the last couple of years with their rivalry, which it was really much needed in the French league after Lyon having no proper competitors for all the start of the 21st century. But the goal by Chamac was Bordeaux's one shot on target. They have got the organisation to grind out games now. Lyon have to be concerned. They're 8 points off the pace. They're in ninth, which is the worst position since 1997. And even though they invested heavily in the summer, it was only on 4 players, albeit 4 very good players in Lisandro Gomis, Bastos and Alex Soccerlens. But they're lacking real depth in the squad, and they badly missed the injured Jeremy Toulon and their inspirational captain Sidney Govou. So they're going to have to find some money from somewhere to go out and supplement the squad in January if they're going to come back into the French title race and do something in the last bit of the Champions League. Quick word for Lille while we're in France. They scored 4 goals for the 4th game in succession. Now, they've always had a great midfield with Gervinho coming into his own now and replacing Michel Bastos, who did depart for Lyon in the summer. What they always needed in front of that midfield was a great spearhead, and now they've got Tullio de Melo, who had a really bad knee injury when he first joined Lille from Palermo, where he didn't really get a chance. He's someone who I always felt could become a really important striker in the European games. Scored 2 great goals at the weekend, and it bodes well for them, especially with a big match against Slavia Prague that can get them progress in the Europa League coming up this week. Now, I thought what we'd do to celebrate the Champions League draw is a little bit of a mock draw, if you will. So I'd love you to respond to this. Tell us what you're hoping for your team in terms of the draw, and what big games that you would like to see. We'll just pull a few out of the hat now. We'll look back on the real thing next Monday, of course, in what will be our end of season spectacular, but end of year spectacular, I should say. But for the moment, we'll pick a few out. I've annotated the teams with the countries, so a little bit of artistic license there. But of course, in the last 16, you can't play anyone from the same country, and you can't play anyone in the same group that you've just come out of. So you'll have to bear with me with that. But I can assure you, the group winners are here and second are here. So without further ado, we'll crack on with it, and we'll see the first team out of the hat. Were this the proper draw, would be Porto, the Portuguese champions, who got through a lot easier than we would have expected in the end. mainly due to Atletico Madrid's poor form. Now they would play Bordeaux, who we were just talking about. Maybe Bordeaux's physical power would be a little much for them, but I think both sides would see that as a really good opportunity to get through to the quarter-finals. Now next we have CSKA Moscow, recovering from the drug scandal with the two players, Ignashevich and Berezovsky, who were found guilty of a banned substance. The club itself isn't going to be done for that, so they'll get to progress, and we'll get to see the excellent Milos Krasic against, it would be Chelsea. That'll be an interesting thing, of course, with Roman Abramovich thought to have invested heavily in CSKA over the years, so maybe a bit of higher loyalty for him. Internazionale, Jose Mourinho under a lot of pressure at the moment. Really poor relationship with the press, which sort of dogged the build up to that game against Rubin Kazan, which fortunately for them they did manage to get through. They would get, in this case, Manchester United, another tough one for them. Don't think they fancy that much, even Manchester United without Ronaldo. Now next we have Lyon. Just talking about them, hopefully they'll get players in the January transfer window, and players who are eligible for the Champions League, of course, always a difficult thing to manage, and when they find the money, who knows. Next we have Real Madrid. A few great games between these two teams over the years, but I don't think Lyon in their current shape would fancy taking on Cristiano Ronaldo, but who would, of course, one of the most efficient players in the world. Now, Milan, who came out of that same group with Real Madrid. Leonardo leading an improving team, although of course they lost to Palermo at the weekend. Great goal and great setup for the second by for Fabrizio Miccoli. If you can catch that on YouTube or wherever, please do, it's excellent. Barcelona, another Spanish club for them, match up of two very famous clubs. That would be great to see. Now, just a couple left. I think we've got three left in the pot. Stuttgart, Christian Gross growing very quickly from unemployment to the last 16 in the Champions League. You really can't complain about that. So it'd be interesting to see how they recover in the Bundesliga before the end of the break from the Champions League. Now, Fiorentina, I think both teams would fancy the look of that. Fiorentina doing a lot better than expected this season, did a great job in their group, so lots of props there to Cesare Prandelli, great coach and a choice perhaps to become the new Italy coach when he leaves at the end of the World Cup. Olympiacos, Greece, got getting through from the group with Arsenal. Arsenal still to come out, but we have Sevilla, again I think something that both of them would quite fancy. Of course, they played each other in the Champions League a couple of years ago in a game that was decided eventually by penalties. Now that leaves us with Bayern Munich, coming into some really good form at the moment and scoring a lot of goals as well, and they would play Arsenal. Now that would be an exciting one, of course, again reprising a game that happened in the Champions League about 5 years ago. So here you go, here's our mock draw. So we've got Porto versus Bordeaux, CSKA versus Chelsea, Inter versus Manchester United, Lyon versus Real Madrid, Milan Barcelona, Stuttgart Fiorentina, Olympiacos Sevilla, and Bayern Munich versus Arsenal. So let's see how similar the actual draw turns out. I'll be looking forward to that, looking at some of the Europa League action on my own video site, www.allornothingtv.net. If you want to respond to this or anything else, or tell me what you're hoping for from the Champions League, from the Europa games this week, hit me up on twitter.com/Andy Brassell. Hope you have a good week, hope you enjoy all the games, hope you enjoy the draw, and we'll see you again next week for the end of the year. Cheers.